Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Journey of the Master podcast. I'm Sara Landon. I'm so happy to be here with all of you today. Thank you for joining us, all of you who are live. Hello, Dawn, Catherine, Puzzler46. We're so happy you are here. We're going to have an amazing conversation today. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. And whether you're listening to this live or sometime in the future, I hope you find this inspiring and uplifting and empowering. Hi, Ivy. Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Today's topic is true creation. We're going to be talking about creation, manifestation, and some amazing, exciting announcements we have as we go into this topic of true creation. And it really is understanding that true creation has no agenda. You are here to be the master of your life experience. You are here to create your reality, and you're here to create your reality any way you wish it to be. From a higher level of awareness and a higher level of consciousness, anything and everything truly is possible for us. So we also have some great questions that have been submitted via video from our community that we will be sharing today. And we really appreciate everyone who is joining us and who submits their questions. It really does give us the opportunity to dive deeper into some of the things that you are wanting to more embody in your life and practice. And so we'll talk about that today. Hi, Carol from Sedona. Karen, so good to see you all. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being part of our community. So the topic of true creation and true creation having no agenda. For me, many years ago, I subscribed, of course, to the concept or the law of attraction, and really understanding that we can create things in our life, that we are not our circumstances and our conditions, that we can rise above it, and that we can imagine a new, more beautiful future or life for ourselves, and that anything and everything is possible. And as we focus on some of these things and we get really clear on what we want to create in our life, we begin to summon the energy to move those things into form. The secret formula for creation, as the council always says, is consciousness moves energy into form. But like many people, I had a vision board, I set goals, I focused on what I wanted, and I created a lot of those things in my life. However, I noticed that I didn't really feel the sense of fulfillment or purpose or meaning, or that feeling of abundance or well-being or love that I thought would come with manifesting some of those things in my life. And I began to ask this question and wanting to know more. There's got to be more to this. And prior to channeling the council, I read many different books about this. There's some incredible authors and speakers out there that talk about manifestation, but there was something unresolved for me about it. There was a missing piece. I began to explore the idea of manifesting my soul's desires instead of my human desires so much. And what I found was that the answer to the question I was really asking is true creation. And the council has done such an amazing job of expanding our awareness into true creation and understanding that it has no agenda, that what we want and need in our life shows up even before we know we need it, if we're willing to allow it, if we're willing to live in the flow, and if we're willing to stay present and conscious, so that we get the signs, so we get the serendipity, so that the divine orchestration becomes choiceless for us. So we're going to talk about that today. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Hi, Francis. Hi, Katie. Marina, we're so happy you are here. Katie asked when we're going to collaborate with Mike Dooley again. If you missed it last year, Mike Dooley and I did a live event and did a Art of Channeling course together that is now available if you were not able to participate in that. But I will tell you, Katie, there is some exciting news because Mike Dooley and I are collaborating on a book that will be published through Hay House in 2023. And the title of that book is The Dream, the Journey, Eternity, and God. And so, yes, we are doing a collaboration with Mike Dooley, and we have really been enjoying that. And I'm so excited to share this co-authored book with you all next year, 2023, thanks to Hay House. Also, our newest book that is coming out, which is an incredible collaboration with our team is The Wisdom of the Council, which will be published in November this year of 2022. It's a grander perspective on the human experience. It is such a beautiful, incredible creation. It's now available for pre-order on Amazon.com if you're looking for that. So that is a perfect example of true creation and what you want to need showing up even before you know you need it, and the divine orchestration that makes even the seemingly impossible possible. And a special thank you to Sara, Elizabeth, and Mark, and Anna, and Lynn, who all contributed to that. It was just an amazing experience creating that book. So, true creation has no agenda. This is something that when we first step into this awareness, what does that really mean? Because aren't we supposed to be specific about what we want? Aren't we supposed to send a clear order to the universe and receive what it is we want? And yes, however, for most of us, we just get too specific about that. And our intention to create something creates more resistance and expectation, which results in experiencing that thing as not there or the separation of it, which leads to this feeling of lack and limitation. And so I want to talk about that. Clearly, the law of attraction works, and it works perfectly, but there's something so much more. And I know many people in our community had this experience of creating some things, feeling really excited about it, then getting into this place in their life where they just felt like they had this clean slate and they didn't even know what they wanted to manifest yet. And so we've had some questions about that as well. And why does that happen? And for me, what I have found is the teachings of the council really invite us to move beyond lack and limitation and separation, to understand that through true creation, we do not have to dip down into the experience of lack or limitation or separation to create what we want more of in our life. So the first step is really being aware of what it is that you want to create more of in your life, not what's lacking. We tend to get programmed to seeing what we do not have. Or if we're experiencing some discomfort in our life, either in our body or in our relationships or in our finances, we get so overwhelmed with what's not working and wanting to fix it. And sometimes there's an opportunity for us to go deeper in the moment and really align with what it is that you want to create more of without being so specific. Because when we get too specific, we often limit what the universe has in store for us and what's really possible for us. Again, remembering that summoning the energy to move things into physical form is really, really important, and that what we are focused on and the vibration and the feeling we're in really matters to summoning that energy of true creation in our life. So, hi, Jennifer. Thank you. Thank you, Ellie. Hello, Carol. We're so happy you're here from Montreal. Julie, hello. Good to see you all. And the links to some things are in the chat here if you're looking at that. Thank you for posting that. It's The Art of Channeling that I just mentioned, which was the collaboration with Mike Dooley. That's available on our website. You can find the link to that. And you can also find out more about true creation versus manifestation, which was a channeled event that we did that is available if you want to dive deeper into that. So thank you, Sara Elizabeth, for pointing those out and attaching the links to that. Hello, Al. So good to see you. So, true creation has no agenda. When we come into this feeling of what it is that we want more of, we instantly begin to shift from the lack of something or experiencing the separation of something or being in limitation to really tuning into what is it that you want more of. If you're not feeling very well, if you have a headache, if you're in pain, oftentimes we are so focused on the pain that when we get entangled in it, it feels like there's no way out. And sometimes that resistance is the very thing that keeps us from experiencing the well-being that we desire. So in that moment, if you can just stop and put some space around yourself, and this is really important to creation. Here's what I mean by that. Just stop and come into the moment. The council reminds us to take 3 deep breaths And it might seem so easy. It might be so easy seeming that you don't do it. But if you do stop and take 3 deep breaths and come into the moment, and I like to imagine that I am just putting light around me. I'm putting light around my body. I'm filling up the room I'm in with light. And that's how I put space around myself. And in that light, we can feel really safe. We can be aligned to our wholeness. We can feel supported and loved. And I really encourage you to just create that space before you move into wanting to manifest something in your life. Really come into alignment with the light within you, your own wholeness, your completeness, that divine perfection that is inherently who you truly are. Feel for that for a moment. Because when we come into the grander perspective and a higher level of awareness of who we really are, we automatically begin creating from a higher level where there's greater potentials and possibilities for us. And so, first step, stop, take some deep breaths, close your eyes if it feels good, go from your head down into your heart, and put some light around you, put some light around your body. Put some light around the room that you're in, and take a few moments to breathe into this light. Feel that sense of knowing who you really are. Even if you can't explain it, feel for it. Feel for your own power. Feel for your own connection to source energy. What I mean by power is your own worthiness. What I mean by power is that innate, inherent connection that you have to source energy within you. It is this knowing that you are always one with all that is if you choose to focus yourself into that oneness consciousness. So start there. And then ask yourself the question, what do I want more of in my life? What do I want more of? Because when you ask this question, you are implying that you already have it. And the truth is that you do, or you wouldn't know that you wanted more of it. So maybe the answer to that question is freedom. Maybe you're in a job that you don't love and you have to be at work at a certain time and you have to drive a certain way and you have to always be available to answer your cell phone and you have to check your email and you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed and you really want more freedom to live your life the way you want to live it. The first step is to really identify that. I want more freedom. I want the freedom to do what I love. I want the freedom to create. I want the freedom to live my life each day the way I want to live it. And just start allowing yourself to feel into that. You may even start getting some images in your mind. You might start projecting, as we call it, into your force field of consciousness, what that would look like, what that would feel like. And what it feels like is really important because your brain is going to go to any level of awareness it has about freedom. And you might reflect back on a time when you felt freedom. And that freedom looked like walking out in nature. That freedom looked like sleeping in. That freedom looked like being able to take time off. But your brain is naturally going to go to the neural pathway that has some association to what freedom has looked like or been experienced by you in the past. And while that's perfect, you are stepping into new levels of consciousness. And those new levels of consciousness and awareness are summoning new energy for new levels of creation. And as we call it, grand manifestations. We have a new live course that is beginning in this month of March. It actually begins next Thursday, March 24th, with a celebration kickoff call and a kickoff party to celebrate all of our grand manifestations, to really expand your own awareness of all of the different grand manifestations that people have experienced. Because once you start tuning into what's possible, you truly can open up to receive and welcome grand manifestations in your life, manifestations that come out of the blue before you even know you want or need it. And that is true creation. So Grand Manifestations, our newest live channeled course, officially begins on March 31st, but you can join us for the kickoff party on March 24th. It's going to be a 6-week channeled course where we dive into new levels of love and well-being, abundance, power, and creation. And that power includes your purpose, your sense of well-being, your service to the world, how you show up in your relationships. And creation is really whatever it means to you. To me, it's that creative energy, new levels of creation, places we've never been before, in welcoming in our heaven on earth experience, the infinite resources and the infinite well-being that is here for us. I know many times I hear people saying that they want more inspiration in their life, more creativity, more inspired actions. And we're going to talk about stepping into those new levels of creation and opening up to grand manifestations in your life, whether it's big, bold, amazing things or the simple, priceless, irreplaceable manifestations that show up in your life. It's going to be an incredible opportunity. So please join us for that. The link is in the chat here. Grand Manifestations, our upcoming course. And we also did an introduction to this course, which is a free live event that we did on March 7th. The link to that is also available to you, and you can find that on our website. It was the introduction to Grand Manifestations, and we really focused on new levels of peace and harmony and freedom. Because I think now more than ever, it is understanding that you have the power to create new levels of peace in your life and in the world around you, to create new levels of harmony within you and around you, and to create new levels of freedom. So if you did not participate in that event, I strongly encourage you to go get the free replay of that. It was such an incredible channel message from the council. If you're new to the council or if you've never experienced them before, oh my gosh, that's a perfect place to begin. I think you will find it as an experience of coming home to the truth of you. Their vibration, their frequency, their love, their wisdom is just an experience of a lifetime if you've never had an opportunity to listen to a channel message from the council. So if you're new to me and you don't know what the council is, I channel a higher level of consciousness that we refer to as the council. They are a collective of ascended master beings. And truly, I believe that you have drawn this to you. And the council often says, you are us and we are you. And we're here because you never intended to forget who you are and what's really possible for you. And they also tell us that the answer to every question is you are creator within your own creation. You are a powerful creator within your own creation. And in our master's class program, we dive into this in our advanced master's class program on a weekly basis. But in our MP3 program, you actually receive 2 channel messages from the council every month. And then there's an opportunity in our advanced master's class program to be on a live call every Wednesday. We do 2 live channel calls a month and then 2 integration calls to talk about how you really integrate this in your life. And I think that is so important, because when we hear something like true creation has no agenda, how do we really apply that in our life? And that's what we're talking about today. So when you notice something that you want in your life, you want more of in your life, especially going back to this example like freedom, start to notice all the freedom you actually do have in your life. The first step is to really appreciate and receive all of the abundance you do have. And sometimes we don't understand how we are resisting the very thing that we want. And the council tells us that when you resist anything, you are resisting everything. You're really resisting everything. Even if you think your resistance is just about your health or well-being, that resistance is allowing not only well-being and love to flow to you, but abundance and joy and so much more. And so come into the awareness of where you already have these things in your life. Where do you have some abundance in your life? Where do you have well-being? And I think this is a very humbling time we're living in human history. The simple ability to have electricity and feel safe in your home, to have running water and to know that you are safe and you are free to tune into the things that you're interested in, and you're free to use the internet, and you're free to choose what you say, and what you believe and what you wear each day and what you eat. There's so many incredible ways that we are free beyond what we can even imagine. And so when we start to appreciate all of those things now, we begin to expand those. And the council says that what we're really doing when we focus on what we want more of and where we already have these things in our life is we are projecting into our force field of consciousness an image. And the particles of infinite creation that are always responding to us are responding to that image that you're projecting into your force field when you see it and when you feel it. And when you feel it, it's really important because every cell of your body is responding to that as if it is happening right now, even if it's manifested in some higher dimension of consciousness and not here in physical form yet. If you can begin to feel that it is already created and let it be presented to you in the highest and best good, in the divine right time, in the most magical and miraculous way, you will begin to come into the awareness of how powerful true creation is in your life. You can let go of your agendas. You can let go of the resistance. You can let go of trying to figure it out, which normally limits our grand manifestations. And you can truly allow that which is in your highest and best good, what you want and what you need, even before you know you need it, stepping into this experience of true creation. And to me, I always feel like those experiences of true creation are manifestations of my soul's desire, my soul's dream, my soul's grand plan for my own life, even if my human couldn't have imagined that possible. So practice this in your own life. We're going to dive deeper into this in some of the questions that were submitted today, but we have a few people from our community that have submitted questions that we would love to share with you all, and we will answer them live on today's podcast. So if we're ready, and thank you to Sarah Elizabeth for posting the links here. We have the links to the master's class. Again, the link to the new upcoming channeled course, Grand Manifestations, which begins live on March 31st. With the bonus kickoff call on Thursday, March 24th. So join us for that and that free introduction to Grand Manifestations, which is available as well. So if we're ready, let's go to our first question.
Hi, my name is Maddie, and I am so grateful for this opportunity to ask a question of the council in light of the new course about grand manifestations coming up. And I would like to know if the council can actually walk us through the process of manifestation from beginning to end. I know they always say that consciousness moves energy into form. And they also talk about following the energy and, when it is that you let go of whatever it is that you are wanting to manifest. So I would like to know if they could take us maybe through a concrete example of, manifesting a vehicle or a house or whatever it is someone may want. If they were in our shoes, how would they do it from beginning to end?
Oh, I love that question. Thank you, Maddie. Maddie is a member of our Master's Class Advanced program and has been part of our community. So thank you, Maddie, for that question. I love this question, and I'm actually going to give you a real life example of this in my own experience of manifesting a car. Prior to the car situation, I loved my car. I didn't dislike my car, but I will tell you, I started to be aware of the fact that I had created a new energy for myself. And the energy of the car was no longer that I had, no longer felt like me. That didn't come from a place of lack. It came from being aware of energy, being aware of how it felt. Did it feel aligned to me? And it just began as this awareness that I didn't really feel like when I walked out to my car that I went like, oh, that's my car. It started to not really feel like me. And so I thought, oh, well, what would really light me up? What feels like me? What looks like me? I had no desire to buy a new car. I had no desire to shop for a car. I had no desire to deal with selling my car. I just started to play in that energy. And sure enough, within a couple of hours, I saw this car and I thought, oh, that's it. That feels like me. And I just felt what it would feel like in that car and how I would feel driving that car. And it felt like, that's me. That feels aligned. That feels like who I am and who I want to continue to expand into. So I started to look at cars, and it became very overwhelming. I couldn't really find anything. There were so many different options and talking to different dealers, and I just kept letting it go. And I thought, if this is meant to be, it will come. But every time I thought about it, I felt this excitement, and I felt this just alignment. I could feel myself there, but I just kept letting it go. I just kept letting it go and saying, if this is in the highest and best good, it's going to show up. It's going to be easy, effortless, harmonious, and I'm just going to know. So this went on for a couple of months, I have to say. It wasn't this need to have the car. It wasn't this feeling of, I've got to get it now and I've got to make it happen. And so I just kept looking around, and I found one, and I called the dealer, and it just didn't feel right. It just felt difficult. Everything that we talked about just felt difficult. And so I just let it go. And the guy said, this car is going to be gone by Monday. If you don't act on it now, it's going to be gone. There's no other deals like this out there. And I just thought, that doesn't feel like true creation. That doesn't feel like the energy I want in manifesting something. So then I came across another car, and I found a great person in the area that could go look at it. And they said, it's nice, but if you want to pay that, it's a little overpriced. And I was like, didn't feel like it. So I had been searching for a certain color of interior. So every time I would click on that, I would search for a car, I'd click on that color. And for whatever reason, I forgot to do it. And in that exact search, the car that I ended up buying popped up. I didn't even know they made it in tan interior. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's my car. That's it. And it was in another state. I called, and the guy who answered the phone actually had a name that is very, very significant to me. And I was like, okay, that's a sign. And I talked to him. It was really a beautiful conversation. He said, we'll happily ship the car closer to you so you can go drive it and test it out, which was one of the things that was really important to me. I got down there, I drove it, I tested it out. The whole process was seamless, and I let it go. I just said, you know what? If it's meant for me, it'll just be choiceless. And the next morning I woke up, and it was just absolutely choiceless. I just knew. And everything fell into place. And I went down there, got the car. It was just, couldn't have been better. And now I feel every time when I get in that car, I feel what I imagined feeling. And I have to tell you, I continue to really intentionally feel that every time I go out to the car. Feel that joy, feel that excitement, feel that alignment of what you're doing, and play and have fun in. So there's an example to me. And so a couple of things that are really important here. I find that true creation comes through absolute inspiration, just inspiration. And you don't have to make anything in your current circumstance wrong. You just begin to notice, where's the energy? What are you feeling inspired to? And allow that to come to you. When you slow down and you do put some space around yourself and you feel into that, things come to you. Inspiration comes to you. And that idea of, wow, maybe it would be fun to try something new, right? It doesn't have to come from lack and limitation. And even if you feel a bit stressed or like you have some sort of time frame around it, just let it go. And that is not a passive process. It is really tuning in and turning over any expectation, any resistance to your higher self, to the universe, to the infinite intelligence that knows that which is in the highest and best good. And our humans can't always figure that out. So let go until it is absolutely choiceless. There are things in my life that, in fact, publishing a book with Hay House is one of those things. That inspiration came to me 10 years ago. I had no idea how that would ever happen. I, at that time, had a very different life. And I was in the corporate world. I loved Hay House. I loved Hay House Radio. I loved their speakers. And I did put on my vision board, which is sitting right in front of me here, publishing a book with Hay House, a best-selling book. Now, that took several years to manifest. And it included the divine orchestration of important people that needed to be part of that showed up, that were so instrumental in the co-creation of that. It was so powerful to watch it unfold in that following the energy and the light. I know if I would have tried to force an effort getting something done and done it the traditional way, it wouldn't have resulted in the manifestation, the grand manifestation that it did. And so it doesn't always happen on our time frame. And I can tell you, back then, 10 years ago, I would have said, oh, I'm ready. I'm ready to publish a book with Hay House. I'm ready for all of that. But I really wasn't. And who you become in the process as you're moving towards your grand and glorious manifestations is really the best part. And the reason why it doesn't feel like that sometimes is because we are withholding love for ourselves and denying our own worth and holding ourselves in lack and limitation because this thing hasn't happened yet. And I would like to just bring your awareness to the fact that you don't have to experience lack or limitation or separation or fear or worry or anxiety to create the experiences that you want in your life and to create more of them. But it is really a process of getting into that higher level of consciousness, as Maddie shared with us. That consciousness is what moves energy into form. Start being conscious. Start being aware. Notice what energy is guiding you. Notice what's lighting up for you. And then don't grasp on and try to make it happen, and don't force an effort it, but allow yourself to really feel what it would feel like, and allow yourself to envision it really as if it's happening now. Because if you really do feel that, you will have the joy and the freedom and the well-being and the abundance now. And you don't have to create that separation. You don't have to create the separation as you are drawing into your reality those experiences that you want to have. And so the more conscious and present you are throughout your day, following energy, letting light guide the way, exploring and observing those observations that come to you or those inspirations that come to you, and then just feel it as if it is now. One of the things we also talk about is impeccable creation. I know there are many things in my life when I thought, oh, I have to have that, and I have to have that now. And I went out and I chased after it and I forced it and I efforted it. And yes, you can make those things happen. But it wasn't the magic and the miraculous unfolding. It wasn't a grand manifestation. And quickly after, I felt like I wanted to unmanifest that thing. And that's when I really began to find the awareness that these opportunities for true creation, no matter what it is, whether it's a car or a relationship or more peace in your life, that there is a more easy, effortless, harmonious way to create these things in your life. So ask yourself, what do I want more of? Even when you're thinking about a car, what is it about the car? It's the feeling. It's the feeling. Same with the house. If you start feeling like you have expanded beyond where you are, just recognize that and explore and be curious about what feels aligned to you now. And don't try to rush off and force and make that thing happen. Just be conscious of it, because that consciousness and that awareness is truly what summons the energy for that which is in your highest and best good to manifest into form in your life. And you might just be surprised. It might be that or something so much better. One of our Master's Class community members shared with me a story about this in a car, that they were having some trouble with their car and they felt unsafe. And they didn't have the money that they thought they needed to manifest a car. And so they just continued to practice this feeling safe in a car that they felt safe in, that was reliable. And they just kept feeling that. And the council tells us that we often make money the middleman. We say, oh, I have to have this money, and that's the only way. Or if I don't have it, I have to go work an effort for it. And I can understand why that is. And we can talk about that more. But she just continued to visualize the car she wanted, the car she wanted, the car she wanted, the car she wanted, what she felt like, why it felt like her. Even the color was very specific to her about a feeling that she wanted. And within a few months, and it was a few months, she had a friend who was going to sell or donate an old car that they had that was not old to her, but felt old to that person. And they actually did a trade for her services, and she traded her services for the car. And she felt so appreciative, so grateful. She couldn't have imagined that for herself, but she just continued to show up. In fact, what happened was, in one of those conversations, she was talking about wanting a new car, and the person said, oh, I am thinking about donating or selling my car. I don't need it anymore, and I don't want to deal with selling it, but it's a great car. And to our master's class member, it was a much better car than what she had. And she just showed up that day, not expecting that that's what was going to happen at all, not even thinking that that was a way possible for her. But that's when we follow energy and let the light guide the way. Sometimes the most miraculous and amazing things happen. These grand manifestations come into our life. And sometimes we don't even have to have the money we think we need to have to make it happen. We have similar stories to that of people finding houses in an area that they really loved and always wanted to live in. And the council said, go walk around the area, go walk around the neighborhood. What do you love about it? Just imagine what it would be like. And in one particular instance, this person was just out walking in an area that they loved, and there was a for rent sign. And they thought, oh, well, there's no way I could ever have that house, because it would take me 3 years to be making enough money on a monthly basis to afford that rent. And the council said, just show up and see how it feels. Just go look at the house. So they went, met with the owner of the house, who ended up showing up that day instead of the realtor. And they got to talking. They talked for several hours. And the owner of the house said, it's yours. I'd love for you to live in it. You can have it. And they said, well, I really don't have the money that you're asking for rent. It's definitely worth that, but I can't do that right now. And the owner said, what could you do? And they told him, he said, fine, I just want you living here. I just want a tenant like you. I want someone like you. And sometimes we have to really allow ourselves into another level of our own worthiness, because we've been trained and programmed that we have to work hard and force an effort. And yet, if you open up and really just allow, the universe is so perfect. It's so divine. And what I've realized is these things that I thought were my idea often really are inspirations. And you can see that everything was leading you to this particular place or this thing, or maybe a divine relationship that comes out of it, or someone you meet, or some amazing thing. So just be open to all of this as you are creating, and intentionally creating from this place of true creation and allowing your manifestations to come. So great question, Maddie. Thank you. Let's go to the next question.
Hi. Thank you for taking my question. I would like to ask for practical guidance regarding how to become aware and realize that at any particular moment throughout the day, I might have blocked or stopped the process of simply allowing this well-being to flow through me. And to go with that, after I realize that I have been stopping this allowing, what are some ways to return to that place of allowing within? Thanks.
Oh, Paul, thank you so much. What a great question. We actually covered this in our recent Master's Class Advanced Channeled Call on March 16th. It was so powerful, and a practice that I think is so amazing. The first step when you notice this is realize that when we are not in a state of joy, That doesn't mean you're just blissfully happy and bouncing off the walls, but a sense of joyfulness within you that you are allowing in those moments. So if you are not sure whether you're in a state of allowing, ask yourself, are you in a state of joy? Because the instant manifestation of allowing is joy. And let me add to this a little bit. The council began by saying creating more peace and love and joy in your life is a process of first acceptance. Accept just where you are without any judgment. Know that where you are is perfect in this moment. And sure, you might want to change your circumstances or conditions, or you might not understand why what is going on right now is happening for you. But the first step is acceptance. Because when we're in resistance, we are not in peace and harmony. When we are in resistance, fighting against, distracted, overwhelmed, stressed, worried, we are holding ourselves in a lower level of consciousness where you could feel very alone, you feel separate, you experience this lack or limitation of what you need, a hopelessness. So the first step is acceptance. Accept just where you are and accept whatever is going on and let go of the resistance. Just accept. I truly believe that this is such an important part of enlightenment, is really accepting what is and coming into a grander perspective of things. So acceptance, accept what is, and the instant manifestation of acceptance is peace. Once you feel a little more peace, you can begin to then move into trusting that everything is always working out for you, that your soul is out ahead of you, orchestrating things on your behalf, that there is an intelligence universe here that is aware of you, that is out ahead of you, that knows where you are, knows what's in your highest and best good, and can divinely orchestrate that for you, whatever it is. When we really come into that place of trust and then going even deeper, you know you're a divine being. You know the truth of who you really are. You know that you are not this human with whatever challenges you think you have. You know that there's more to you. And you can align then to the pure love that you are. And the council says the instant manifestation of that level of trust is love, is pure love for yourself, is the knowing that there's only love. So acceptance, instant manifestation is peace. Move into the awareness of trust, or if it feels better to you, knowing, until you feel that instant manifestation of love. And then the next step is allowing. And the instant manifestation of allowing is joy. And you can get yourself into a state of allowing by doing the things that bring you joy. I find you can even get yourself into a state of allowing by focusing and thinking about the things that bring you joy. And I've asked this question many times. The council's asked this question many times. I will say that the answers to these things are very common. What brings you joy? Spending time in nature, spending time with the people I love, beautiful music, a sunset, a sunrise, candles, playing an instrument, cooking a beautiful meal, singing if it feels good to you, dancing if it feels good to you, animals. The answers to this question tend to be very similar. They are quite simple things, and most of them don't cost any money at all. So when you think you can't live the life you want to live, if you really tune into what brings you joy and you tune into that state of joyfulness, you will automatically find yourself in a state of allowing. Someone in our community made an incredible observation or recommendation. She said, sometimes I can't get to allowing, but I can get to the place of welcoming. And I thought that was so great. Receiving maybe is another word that you could use there. Receiving or welcoming. What are you welcoming? More abundance, more love, more joy, more freedom, more harmony, more peace, more fun, more play. Really welcome more joy into your life. welcome more abundance into your life. That is a way we get into a state of allowing. So if you don't particularly resonate with the word allowing, try the word welcoming. Try the word receiving. And it becomes really obvious when you're open to receiving or you're welcoming new manifestations or more love or more joy in your life versus when you're in resistance. And for me, I'll tell you the simplest process that I use time and time again. If I find myself not in a state of allowing, the first step is to go from my head down into my heart because it's a lot more peaceful there. There's love there. There's joy there. And that's not to say that there's not a powerful connection between your head and your heart, because there really is. But when we've just gotten so in our heads and our thoughts are unconsciously just rattling around in there, just stop. Take 3 deep breaths. Go from your head down into your heart. Put some light around you. Fill yourself with light. And then fill the room with light. Focus on the joy. Focus on opening up and welcoming and receiving and allowing. And you might just see some instant manifestations of grand and glorious creations in your life. So thank you for the question, Paul. We have one more question, I think.
Hi, Sara and the council. Thank you so much. So much love to you all for everything you do and this opportunity for this question. I think it's a question that a lot of us want the answer to, how to do it. So life's reality, sometimes we're short of funds to go on the trip or get the car fixed or pay the bill early. And how do we move through that without being in a place of lack and limitation? How do we get around it? Please, I appreciate your answer. So much love. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. I love this question, and I have so much compassion. I have been there myself, and I think this is such an important conversation to have. So thank you for your question, and it's just perfect in the spirit of true creation. So when we find ourselves not having the money we think we should have, or not enough money to pay the bills or do the things we want to do, we tend to get really focused on the lack and the limitation and all the things we can't do and all the things we can't buy and all the things we don't have and all the things we wish we had. And then it just gets really overwhelming. And we tend to try to take action from that place of lack and limitation. And so every time we have to pay a bill, there's resistance. We look at what money we have left, and every little cent that we spend is whittling away at what you have. And it's just this overwhelming experience. And I have been there. I understand. The things that we try to do from that place is to force an effort and make something happen to get us out of this place. But again, most of those things just lead to more experiences of lack and limitation. One of my favorite stories of this is one of our wonderful master's class members, and she kept asking this question. She was in her 70s, and she said, I'm just so afraid I'm going to run out of money and not have money for retirement, and I'm too old to start a new career, and what am I going to do? And she was so worried about money. And then she manifested a pretty incredible, substantial inheritance out of the blue from a relative she barely knew and certainly did not know had that amount of money, and had no reason to think that she was going to be the one inheriting it. And so for a short period of time, she was pretty excited. And then those feelings of lack and limitation came back, and the fear of losing the money then took the place of the fear of not having money. And so this is why consciousness and awareness is so important. This is how we change and shift our life. And this is how we change and shift our relationship with money and abundance and all of those things. And so if you want something to change, you've got to do something different. You've got to bring some new energy to this. And I'm going to give you some suggestions. I have used these in my own life. First off, play this game. It's called the abundance game. And really be aware of how truly abundant you are. And the simplest little things that we take for granted. For example, when you go to the grocery store, someone got up at 5 o'clock in the morning and got out of their nice warm bed and drove to that store to open the store and open the doors and turn the lights on. And someone stacked the shelves and someone put the produce out and someone was there to make sure that the things that you needed were there when you needed it. And beyond that, someone grew those fruits and vegetables, and someone picked those fruits and vegetables, and someone loaded them on a truck, and someone drove that truck here, and someone unloaded it. Just the simplest thing of walking through the produce section at the grocery store and really opening up and becoming aware of all of the energy that went into bringing a simple apple or avocado to that stand there for you to be able to enjoy that. It's a simple abundance game. When you go into a restaurant, somebody washed those tablecloths, somebody washed those plates, somebody chopped up and prepared that food and cooked it for you, and someone's going to wash your plate when you're done. I was recently in Costa Rica and we were going to the beach, and I didn't notice it on the way there, but on the way back, I was really more in the moment instead of focusing on getting in the beach. And I was staring at the road and I realized they were all hand-laid bricks down this very long road, several miles to the beach. And I was like, are those all hand laid? And the driver said, yes. And I said, how long did it take and how many people? And I thought all the people that it took to lay the bricks on this road so that we could drive to enjoy the beach. To me, this is just a very simple game of abundance that you can play with yourself. Start to notice all the energy that goes into everything you use every day. The streets you drive down, someone created those streets. Someone's manual labor created those streets. Everything that we use all day long is infused with energy. Money is energy. It's an exchange of energy. And if you start to shift your consciousness and your awareness of how truly abundant you are, you begin to see how much you have, how much is available to you in every moment. The second thing I like to do is really practice not sending any money out in the world unless you can do it with love, unless you can send it forth from a frequency of abundance and bless it and send it into the world. So if you need to slow down and put some space around yourself and shift your consciousness before you pay your bills, you will find that it's a really powerful practice. So don't pay your bills when you're overwhelmed, when you're stressed out, when you're in total lack and limitation and panic. Elevate your consciousness first. Come into alignment with the abundance you do have. And then and only then, when you can infuse it with love and the vibration of abundance, write the check, pay the bill, send it forth in love. We think about it as a bill that we have to pay. But truly, when we tune into the energetic exchange, your water bill is a perfect example. We are so blessed to be able to walk into a home and turn on the water or the shower and have running water. And so you're not just paying the water bill, it's that appreciation, that energetic exchange for that incredible convenience and pleasure of turning on the shower and having clean water, turning on the sink. The same is true with electricity when you're paying your power bill. It's an energetic exchange. What have you received? I know for myself, when I was in lack, I wasn't really receiving or valuing all of these things. And that simple but yet powerful shift in your consciousness can begin to shift your relationship with money. This leads to one of my favorite teachings of the council, which is sort of the perfect way to answer this question. One of their most powerful teachings is the affirmation, galore, galore, I have everything I need and more. Galore, galore, I have everything I need and more. Galore, galore, I have everything I need and more. And if it feels good to you, galore, galore, I have everything I need and want and more, whatever feels good to you, but everything I need and more. When they first brought that in, I thought, no, I don't. My human was like, no, you don't. You do not have everything you need. Like, you need this, you need that. And my human had a very long list of all the things I needed. And I just kept going back to it. I have everything I need and more. Galore, galore. I have everything I need and more. And the simple awareness did sort of come in. You know what? Okay, fine. For today, I have everything I need and more. But what about next week? Or what about a month from now? But if you can just practice this, galore, galore. I have everything I need and more. In this moment, I have everything I need and more. If you will just continue to practice this, I can't even tell you all of the stories and the amazing transformations that have occurred in our community by people using this teaching. It has transformed my life as well. Galore, galore. I have everything I need and more. And I'll tell you a story about this. In our Advanced Master's Class program, one of our members asked this question that she was really trying to understand that concept. And for example, she said, I have $3,000 in the bank and I have to pay my rent in a few weeks and I really don't have everything I need and more. And the council said, what would you do today if you had the money you need? What would you do today? But you have to do it today. And she said, I would go get a massage. And they said, how much is a massage? And she said, $300. And the council says, but be aware, right? You have $300. In fact, you have 10 times the amount of money that you need to do what you want to do today. And just sit in that for a moment. In this moment, you have what you need. And in that particular example, she didn't need to pay her rent that day. She didn't need to pay her car bill that day. She had $3,000 in the bank. There was nothing else she needed to pay that day. And the one thing that she did want to do was get a massage. And she had 10 times the money that day to get a massage. Now, I'm not suggesting you then go out and spend that $300. It is about coming into the awareness that you really do have what you need in this moment. And then you can begin to shift into opening up, welcoming, receiving new levels of abundance. And a lot of times that comes through inspiration, comes through an inspired idea. And so let those things come. But when you go, oh, I got to figure this out, I got to make this happen, you're holding yourself in a lower level of consciousness. And that inspired idea can't come to you from that place. But the moment that you go do something that brings you joy, there's the inspiration, there's the inspired idea. And the other thing I would really say here is go give something. And I'm not saying money necessarily if that doesn't feel good to you. Go give. Go do something where you feel like you are giving. Even if you're holding space for someone who's going through a difficult time and you're just holding space for them to talk, you're giving of your time. You're giving of your space. You're giving a safe place for them to share. The council says the energy of giving and receiving really are one energy. And most of the time, we're really not allowing ourselves to receive. And we're not aware of all that we're giving. So when you consciously and intentionally focus on giving, then consciously and intentionally focus on receiving. And don't try to figure out how it's going to come. Just begin to move your consciousness and your awareness to I'm giving and I'm receiving, because giving and receiving really are one energy. So again, this comes back to consciousness, shifting your awareness is what summons the energy to move your grand manifestations into form. Consciousness moves energy into form. As you're coming into new levels of consciousness and awareness of what's possible for you, first off, you're going to feel so much better. But because you're feeling better, you're going to summon and open up to the energy that moves into form to create new manifestations in your life. And you don't have to be specific. Remember that true creation has no agenda. Just allow it. What you want and what you need will come even before you know you need it. You have to know that you're worthy of that. Remember, play the abundance game. Galore, galore, I have everything I need and more. Really allow yourself into this new awareness. To me, it's the next evolution of the law of attraction, to really come into alignment with true creation in your life. Thank you all for being here live. If you have not already done so, please check out the links. Please join us for Grand Manifestations, our newest channeled course beginning on March 31st. The links will also be in the replay of this. I love coming together with all of you. Thank you for your comments. Hello, hello. Hi, Emery. Hello, Bo, Catherine, Scrappy. I love that. Really good. Thank you so much for all of your comments, and thank you for being here. I love you all. Have an amazing rest of your day. Bye, everybody.